over the horizon, there's the weekend. But here it is Wednesday morning, and we'll check out the weather for you in Metro AccuWeather, forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine today. We're going to get up to 33 degrees. It's going to feel like 40, though. Chance of a stray thunderstorm this afternoon. Currently, we've got some clouds and 28 degrees in Manila. Feels like 34. And again, if you're going to be outside, take care because the air quality only rated as fair. Well, the coffee's on. You know where it is. Get yourself a second cup. Sit back, relax, and I'll tell you what's happening in Canada. First, we'll look at the weather across the country. Our street scene today, you can see it already up there on the screen, comes from Squamish, BC. Now, Squamish is in kind of the Vancouver area there, but kind of a small town-like suburb of Vancouver. And we thank our Eagle News correspondent out that way, Kathleen Cruz, for that shot. Let's start on the west coast. Victoria, cloudy and 20. Vancouver, partly cloudy and 18 degrees. We crossed the mountains to Alberta, where Edmonton is sunny. But, you know, it's been so windy here, and that's kind of making it a little bit chilly. We only got up to 20 degrees today. And sometimes with that wind, I feel like I'm in October now and just waiting for the snow to fall. Don't say snow. Calgary, mainly sunny and 19. In Saskatchewan. Regina, mostly cloudy and 21. Saskatoon, cloudy and 18. Winnipeg, reporting sunshine, 23 degrees. Toronto, mostly cloudy and 25. Ottawa's got some clouds. It's a heat wave up there. 29 degrees they made it to today. Montreal, a little bit cooler at 24 with some clouds. And the Atlantic provinces cooled down considerably from yesterday. Fredericton, cloudy and only 20 degrees today. A light rain and 18 in Halifax, and St. John's, Newfoundland, it's cloudy and a chilly 14 degrees. And that's a look at our weather. Well, here are some of the stories we're following today. Clinical trials have begun on humans in Canada to test a COVID-19 vaccine. Is forcing people to wear face masks in public a violation of personal freedom? I'll tell you about a pop-up COVID testing clinic in Ottawa. Ontario's set to ease more restrictions. Oh, and for basketball fans, we got all kinds of stuff for you, so stay tuned for that. But at the top of the news, we hear that researchers are busy trying to develop a vaccine to prevent COVID-19. Testing of a plant-based vaccine has begun on humans. Clinical trials got underway in Canada. A Quebec company, Medicago, is testing the vaccine on 180 volunteers. Now, these men and women in the trial are aged 18 to 55. They'll receive 2 doses of the vaccine 3 weeks apart. Results of the tests, and remember, this is just phase 1. Results are expected sometime in October. And remember, even after these trials are done, there'll be more testing. Got to make sure this is really effective. Is it really safe? Realistically, a vaccine probably won't be available until late next year at the earliest. Now, a second potential vaccine is also set to go to human trials. It's being developed by a Montreal company in conjunction with Chinese researchers. Bit of a problem there. It's been delayed. The Chinese government has not approved sending the vaccine to Canada. And a third one that's being developed in Canada, it's an Edmonton-based company. Now, they're doing something different. They're working on a DNA-based vaccine. Clinical trials on that one set to begin in August. And again, the research is going to involve a lot of trial and error. Researchers for all 3 companies say, don't expect miracles. We're not going to have this overnight. Don't get your hopes up for an immediate discovery. COVID is going to be with us for a long time. And again, the message we're being given, don't be complacent because, you know, right now, all we can do is prevent the spread, slow it down. There's no treatment and there is no vaccine. Well, what's on the minds of Canadians? We turn to the Leger Polling Company. It released a new poll. It was done for the Association of Canadian Studies. People were asked about government spending to mitigate the effects of the pandemic. Now, you recall we reported last week the federal government's credit card statement stands at a record $343 billion. More than 2/3 of that is COVID-19 related. It seems Canadians are torn on whether the government should continue to prop up support programs. 41% of those asked say yes, continue the spending. But 44% say no, it's time to put the credit card back in the wallet and put the wallet away. 15% don't know or decline to answer. How do we pay for this? 60% say the government should cut spending. 21% say raise taxes. Now, the poll also revisited the question of masks. It surveyed people in both Canada and the United States, and here are the findings, somewhat interesting. 27% of Canadians and 41% of Americans say requiring a mask when in a public place is an infringement on their personal freedoms. But what about enforcement? You know, remember, a lot of Americans, 41%, say this infringes upon their personal freedoms. But what about enforcing these mask ordinances? 68% of Canadians and 58% of people in the U.S. say people should be able to, or police should be able to fine or arrest people who violate a mask ordinance. Although I'm not so sure we can enforce our way out of the pandemic. What do you think? Are we through the worst of it? 40% of Americans and Canadians, equal, both fear the worst is yet to come. These questions and others were asked to a random sample of people in both countries just this past weekend, so it's pretty current numbers. The full story, all the details up on our website. Check it out on eaglenews.net. Another American couple has learned just how expensive it can be to violate Canada's quarantine laws. A couple from Florida are aged 68 and 70. You know, you'd think at that age they'd know better. Anyway, this couple caught wandering around northern Ontario. They crossed the border into Canada on July 3rd. Now, the reason they were even allowed here is they own a seasonal property, a cottage in northern Ontario. So they came up to check it out. What they didn't do, and you warned at the border about this, they didn't self-isolate for the required 14 days. And why would the laws apply to me? Well, that mistake's going to cost them about $1,000 each. Meanwhile, a woman in Newfoundland has been arrested because she refused to stay at home after returning from a trip outside that province. The 53-year-old was picked up for violating public health orders. She was supposed to isolate, but didn't. Spent the night in jail. Apparently was in court today. Now that offense is even more costly for her under the provincial laws there. She could be fined up to $2,500 and face 6 months behind bars as a guest of the government. In the Ottawa region, health officials are taking the tests to the people. Joining me live this morning from Ottawa, Eagle News correspondent Andre Lajoie. Good morning, Andre. Tell us about these pop-up clinics.
Yes, good morning, Tom. Yes, a dozen of people turned out yesterday, Monday, for a pop-up assessment clinic designed to address the barriers of low-income residents and have guests getting tested. Its locations made up better options for people living nearby in neighborhoods like Overbrook and Vanier and most of the park surrounding area in Ottawa. It's difficult for some residents to travel with the symptoms. The transportation is so bad for them to get to the Brewers Park, as well as Alta Vista, Stittsville. It takes 3 to 4 buses to get there. And for them, it's so, as far as it is, the co-chair Stephanie Graham was saying that they were referring to a permanent testing center for most of those areas. So for mental health issues also, another barrier for some people, a lot of them have anxiety problems, and to take a bus for them is just as hard to get there for 3 to 4 hours. So the bus traveling is pretty long and hard on them. And as well as Mr. Ladouceur, a veteran who applied for the Federal Emergency Financial Assistance this month, needs a test in order to get to see his mother, to go see his mother as soon as possible. At least 70 people were tested by midday, including Lorraine Sport Monday. She wanted to make sure that she was free of COVID-19 and as much as possible to meet other people as well. So so as you can see, the traveling to get there to go to those clinics It's a very good idea, but for some people, it's not obvious to get there, to travel, and especially to take those buses for the waiting time to travel one place to another.
Now, Andre, did people have to have symptoms to get tests, or could anybody just get tested?
No, everybody could go and test right now. So like I said, if anybody who wants to go and to see their parents in home cares and things like that, it's the government is asking those people to start going to those testing area to be able to see if they have the symptoms or whatsoever. And it helps the center also to make sure that the people come visit their families, either their father, mother, or whatever. It helps a lot. So it's to prevent anything to happen again in those home care centers.
Yeah, this is really a great idea. Putting the clinics where people can actually get to them. We're starting in Alberta here to allow some pharmacies to do the testing because previously, the test centers, the drive-in test centers, were out in the middle of nowhere, and if you don't have a car, there's no buses run out there, especially on the weekends. I think this is a great idea. Are these clinics going to continue?
Yes, those clinics will continue until they're satisfied with their results. Also, as I mentioned last weekend, they had in Montreal, they had a huge, all those bars were all open. And as a matter of fact, close to 100 people in Montreal got contacted. They got the coronavirus. So they decided to ask all those people and all those kids to come by and have their test done. So close to 300 people, young adults came and came for their test and make sure that they're okay.
I know your Premier Francois Legault is quite concerned about numbers creeping up again. And are people following the social distancing? Our Chief Medical Officer, and I'll have a story on it tomorrow, she was just saying a few minutes ago at a news conference that people are becoming complacent and tuning out the warnings, tuning out the advice. Is that happening there?
Yes, a lot of people they have. As I saw also today, there was many people still don't believe it with those masks. Some of them, they believe that they will be cured, everything will be okay. But it's for the other people. They don't seem to understand that other people are afraid and worried about the fact that those people not wearing masks could put them in danger. So, and then again, start a second wave in Quebec. So I don't. The Minister Legault, which I will talk to you about sometime this week, will implement something really harsh on those stores or any places if anybody who doesn't comply with the judgment or whatever they come up with. They will be fined from $1,000 to $6,000. It would be really strict on those stores or restaurants, anything that doesn't comply with the mask. So the mask will be really strict. Everybody will have to wear those masks everywhere they go, in restaurants, groceries, and bars, wherever.
Thanks for joining me this morning, Andre. And if you're just joining us, it's 15 minutes past 7 o'clock. You're watching Eagle News Mornings from Canada.
This weekend, tara na't mamangha sa galing at talento ng mga Pinoy sa iba't ibang sulok ng mundo.
It's now or never. Have you ever seen the rain? It's so easy.
Abangan sila at mapawaw dito lang sa pinakamalawak na talent competition on Philippine TV and online. Ito ang Tagisan ng Galing.
The ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving.
Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sanmig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sanmig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved Nutrichunks, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutrichunks. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Lunch and Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate NEPs and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee. Masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matimco, Our Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation. East West Bank, your dream, our focus.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, San-May Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! San-May Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
The Bulacan Bulk Water Project is a treatment facility that will provide bulk water to the 24 municipalities of Bulacan to meet the increasing water demand of its residents. Through concessionaire, SMC Infrastructure also initiated the significant improvements of the Manila North Harbor Port, the country's busiest port.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutrichunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutrichunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ibang klase ang sarap ng corned beef mo. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Kaya perfect ang sarap. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
This is Eagle News Mornings from Canada. I'm Thomas I. Likeness. 20 minutes past 7 o'clock. It's 26 degrees in Metro Manila right now. Well, more restrictions are being lifted this week in Ontario, and here to tell us about that is Eagle News correspondent Ashley Sackmar.
About a month ago, Ontario entered Stage 2 of its reopening. Stage 2 eased some restrictions and allowed some businesses to open. Yesterday, Ontario officially announced that by the end of this week, it will enter Stage 3 of reopening the province, with the exemption of some regions. Here's Premier Doug Ford with the announcement.
So today, we're ready to take the next step. 24 regions in Ontario, the vast majority of our province, will be able to enter Stage 3 this Friday, July the 17th at 12:01 a.m. This includes all communities except the following regions: Toronto, York Region, Peel Region, Durham Region, Niagara, Windsor-Essex, Haldimand, Norfolk, Halton, Hamilton, and Lambton. As we all know, these regions entered Stage 2 later on, so we need just a little more time.
Stage 3 of reopening means that nearly all businesses will be allowed to reopen, following physical distancing measures. Indoor gathering limits will increase to a maximum of 50 people. Outdoor gatherings will increase to a maximum of 100 people. The following businesses and places will be allowed to open in Stage 3. Dine-in restaurants, gyms, fitness centers, personal care services, live shows, performing arts and movie theaters, recreational activities, live sporting events, and tour and guide services. However, public health experts also identified some places and activities as high risk because of the likelihood of large crowds gathering, thus making physical distancing challenging. The following high-risk places and activities are not yet safe to open: amusement and water parks, buffet-style food services, overnight stays at camps for children, private karaoke rooms, and prolonged contact while playing sports, amongst others. Premier Doug Ford comments that the key to a successful Stage 3 is making sure workers and parents have a sustainable child support so they can confidently go back to work. Take a look.
And a key part of getting people back to work is making sure parents, workers have their child care support they need. Minister Lecce will have an important message today to update on how we're supporting parents as they return to work. And I know that parents want to know what school will look like this fall. My friends, let me be clear. I want to see every child in Ontario back to school full-time this September.
Though the province is about to enter Stage 3, proper safety measures are still expected, such as maintaining physical distancing of at least 2 meters, wearing a face mask where physical distancing is a challenge, washing your hands frequently, using alcohol-based hand sanitizer, practicing good hygiene like covering a cough or sneeze, avoiding touching your face, and cleaning frequently touched surfaces more often. Ontario's stage of emergency began last March 17th, and 4 months later, the province is about to enter Stage 3 of reopening. Indeed, it's a hopeful path to recover. By acting responsibly and respectfully toward one another, everyone can safely go back to work and keep their family and friends safe. In Toronto, Ashley Sackmar, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
We go live now to New York City. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. And EBC sports reporter Tenny Sumagi has made it there. She's standing by. She tells us the San Antonio Spurs hope to extend that NBA record-breaking playoff streak to 23 seasons. And that's all thanks to the coaching skills of Greg Popovich, Coach Pops. Tenny, you know, that's coming up on a quarter of a century in a couple of years. What a streak. Good morning, Tenny.
Good morning, Tom, and thank you for pronouncing my last name right.
Practice like you say.
Practice makes perfect. And we have Greg Popovich, the longest tenured NBA coach, known for his tough love, tactics on the court, and his over-the-top bluntness opinions. The 5-time NBA champion alongside DeMar DeRozan share their thoughts on social justice.
This isn't a new emphasis for us. For the last 2 decades, it has been in the forefront of how we approach creating a family, developing trust and understanding, and moving on from there. So it's just a continuation, but probably with for sure more feeling, more factual knowledge, more empathy for how much hurt, how much fear, how much inequity has really been imposed upon the Black community over years. And you can put specifics in there. As much as we've talked about it, as many people as we've had come and talk to our team, or books passed out, all that sort of thing, even for people like myself who sort of think we've had a good feel for the injustice and the inequity, we didn't know crap. And mostly it's an educational thing. We talk about the police, and we talk about laws have been passed, and we talk about voter suppression and so on and so forth. But the thing that really came home for me, and this is probably will be an emphasis with our players, and it doesn't matter that majority of them are black. Even the young black players didn't get that education that is necessary to change culture. No matter what law gets passed, it doesn't keep somebody from putting a knee in somebody's neck if that person is a bad dude. Culture keeps people from doing those things. Accountability.
I mean, it's really nothing new. You know, one thing I experienced ever since I came to the Spurs was, you know, having those conscious conversations about what's going on in the real world. You know, and for that to continue, such as yesterday, it wasn't that new, but it was refreshing for us to have it, for not having it so long. You know, Pop always throughout the season at practices, he always break down some and show us some and have us read some and watch some what's going on in the world to just keep it on our mind. So for us to have that conversation yesterday after everything that's transpired, you know, it was uplifting, you know, because everybody emotions is all over the place, you know, trying to get through these things. Everybody got different experiences. So to be able to share that in front of all the players and coaching staff and have that dialogue to continue, you know, it's big for us to continue this thing as we here in this bubble.
Continue to tune in to Eagle News for your daily dose of NBA highlights. In New York, Tenny Sumagi, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Tenny, you know, an open secret that you're a huge NBA fan. You grew up playing basketball as a kid. Take me back. Who would you have wanted to coach you as a player? Pops with his tough love, or the great 11-time champion Phil Jackson? Which one?
That's a tough one, Tom, because you got the Zen master who coached Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, and then you have Pops. Greg Popovich has only been with one team, but 23 seasons making the playoffs. And the San Antonio Spurs are one of the most well-respected organizations in the NBA. There's not a lot of drama that goes around on the Spurs, unlike the Knicks. But
Tenny, it was great to have you on the program. The clock's got us again. Look forward to your next appearance here. And for more sporting news, be sure to watch EBC Sports International Home Edition. Plenty of talk, lively discussions. They have interviews with athletes from around the globe, just like Tenny did. EBC Sports International Home Edition. You can find it on Facebook and YouTube. And that's our program for today. On behalf of the Canadian News team, I wish you all good health. Take care of others and take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic and other current affairs. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Stay tuned for Kid Cuento.